Oh, Grid Legends, a game that I pretty much neglected for a good half a year. And I still had it installed, I still knew about the expansions, but I just refused to play it. And I thought I would take this video because I started playing it again a little bit more recently in the past couple of days. And I thought I'd do this video basically saying, have I neglected it, because I should have, because the game is actually really bad, or whether it was because I'm doing it for all the wrong reasons. I actually should have been playing this game a lot more because it is a hell of a lot of fun. At the minute, I am in two mindsets of I shouldn't have neglected it and I should have neglected it. This annoys me quite a bit because at the core aspect of this game is something good, really damn good. A solid handling style, good amount of tracks, good weather system. Well, the fact that the cars actually feel different when you actually put it on snow and rain, and a good amount of cars. Not just, the number of cars. I think there's only 125. It's the car disciplines. It's what you get that helps it further. Here we've got the Astra DTM car, Cosworth Group A, the A4 Quattro BTCC cars, all of this stuff, the Super GT 500 class cars, Group 5. Now we've got some time attack cars here. GTEs, GT3s, 4s. You get the idea. Drift cars, Master Fury, the AMR Valkyrie Pro concept car. There's just a lot of really cool stuff here. And there's pretty much something for everyone. Pretty much. And that just helps it further. Now, it isn't just all that's the only good point about it. There is also a pretty damn good handling model in this game as well. One I actually do enjoy. For the most part. I'm going to say for the most part because there is a few problems with it. There's one big overlying problem with it, with this handling model. So I may as well talk about that now, considering we're here. One of the things I have is, in a fair amount of racing games, I like to turn off the assists, because I like to have a little bit more of a challenge, and, for me, it's actually quite a lot of fun. I don't do it on all games, but some games I do. Some, like an arcade racing game, I probably would turn it off. I did when the original Grid came out. And with this, obviously, you do have all of that, ABS, traction control, stability control, you've got all of the assists, blah 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 blah. One of the issues I have with it is it doesn't feel like they're off. It doesn't feel like they're fully off. Even the ABS, which I do actually have a big problem with, because the braking aspect of this game, if you ask me, is the one I have the most problems with. So, let's get into talking about it. With all those problems aside, the handling model is a lot of fun. As you would expect, from the Grid franchise, it is very arcadey. Cars have a lot more grip than, if it was a sim game, and you are able to actually get away with a lot more. You're able to throw the cars a lot more aggressively, and they'll still be able to hold on, because they've got a lot of grip. Now, this handling model is better than Grid 2019. The reason being is because rear-wheel drive cars in this game are a lot more consistent. You can actually do the same thing over and over again and get very similar results, if not the same. In Grid 2019, you couldn't. You had to do completely different things and you'd get you could do the same thing over and over again, and you would get massively different results. However, like I alluded to before, with the braking, this is where my big problem comes in. Now, I'm not going to say that the brakes are completely horrible, they're unusable, because that's not true. My issue with them is they feel very off. They feel extremely off. What I mean by that is basically, as you saw there, I've only got a little bit of ABS. I've got on 2. So my brakes will lock a little bit, but they won't just lock as much, say, as if ABS was completely off. However, when you're having that, there's a few problems. For one, you can't actually see how much brake pressure you're actually applying. There's no indicator on that whatsoever. Not only that, for me, the brakes is just off. Just the amount of percentage to trigger is extremely off-putting for me. So, I think that, okay, no worries. What I could do is I can either tune the brakes to have a little bit less pressure, so I'd have to apply the right trigger, the left trigger more to actually brake, or I can go into the options and I can tweak the brakes there so that it feels a lot more comfortable. You can't. You absolutely can't. You can only change the steering sensitivity and the linearity. That's the thing I don't have a problem with. I don't have a single problem with the steering whatsoever. I have a problem with the brakes, but you can't do anything about it. So, it's pretty much, you either put up with it, or you just play a different game. And, that's pretty much it. Now, I'm not going to say it's impossible to get used to. It isn't. It's just, for me, really awkward, really uncomfortable. Because, like I said, there's no indication on the HUD anywhere as to how harsh I'm actually braking with no assists. You'd have to go into the menus. But there's still a good amount of trigger left, for me at least, that is 100% braking. So obviously you would lock the brakes then. So obviously I have to try and brake a little bit less. But because of that, then the brakes are nowhere near as effective, so you have to brake even earlier. And that's just my main problem with it. It's that it is just extremely awkward to actually get used to. With no physical way to actually tweak it for your liking. Defending from us. Right, okay. So, we'll talk about the AI now. The AI is inconsistent, shall I say, in terms of how I feel about them. Now, sometimes when I'm just in a racing scenario, they're actually not too bad. They're not awful to race against, They will try and defend from you, they will pull out alongside slipstreams to try and overtake you, go up the inside, round the outside. They will generally give you racing room. I'm not going to say they do it all the time, because that would be absolutely not true. Sometimes they do just completely sideswipe you off the track and things like that. Oh god. And rejoining, sometimes there can be a little bit of a not great word, shall we say. But in other aspects they are completely fine. To be honest, I don't have a huge amount of problems with them. One of the other things I actually didn't talk about the AIs in the bulk of the video was actually when they crash. Now, sometimes they do the occasional one that makes sense. They might run wide, hit a wall, or they might spin out on the grass. But there are other ones where it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And it's this example here where you can see my teammate pretty much rips the handbrake and just rolls it. It's quite funny, but when it's your teammate, it's quite infuriating at the same time. Until we get to the time attack, then a big problem starts to arise. Now, it's not so much that the AIs will just constantly block you and things like that. There's plenty of laps where there is no AIs nearby, so you do get opportunities to post clean laps. My problem is actually when you cross the line. For some reason, and I don't think it happens in the race. I've not noticed it in the racing. Well, I mean, to be honest, I kind of have at the same time. When you cross the line, if say here, I'm leading now by 1.2, roughly 1.2 seconds. That is my faster time compared to the AIs. So it's not, a massive lead, but it's a pretty much noticeable one. Right, okay, I've gone a little bit quicker. What will happen, as soon as I cross the line, I might be leading. As soon as I cross the line, I might end up in 7th or 8th. Because the AIs have all of a sudden found an extra 3 seconds. Like, just on my time. Just an extra 3 seconds, or something ridiculous like that. And I don't get it. I really don't understand why basically you get punished for crossing the line. And it's the same with all difficulties. You know, all difficulties. As soon as you cross the line, the AI's lap time just has a magic amount just removed off them. And I find it completely and utterly ridiculous that, you know, you could spend literally ages and finally just beat the AI. Like, you know, you're only just winning by less than a second. As soon as you cross that line, bam, you're in 15th. Because the AIs have gotten an extra 3 seconds on top of your time now. I'm sorry, but that's not good games. That is basically, to put it in the nicest way possible, shit. It is absolutely atrocious. It really, really is. And that should never have worked that way. And the other thing I have definitely noticed is they are definitely faster than you by a noticeable margin in a straight line. Even when they are not in slipstream and you've upgraded your car, they're always quicker in a straight line. Now obviously around the corners they're not, they're actually quite tentative and quite slow. But yeah, down the straights they are faster even in the same car by a noticeable amount. Now of course other games are like that, other, you know, Forza for instance. I can't remember if it's with all of their games or particular ones, but you can see it in Motorsport 7. It gives you a proper visual example where the AIs will actually have more power than what is actually allowed when you're in the same cars. And in this, it is pretty much the exact same. They are just a hell of a lot quicker than you in a straight line, and there's just nothing you can do. Even when slipstreaming, some of them, sometimes they are about even pace, other times they are just massively, massively quicker. So yeah, it's just really, really inconsistent. The other thing as well, see there you go. What was it? It was a 118. Oh, okay, yeah. So there was like 118s, and then I found like an extra 1.3 seconds. Alright, okay, you know, that's not really out of this world bad, but I've seen it a hell of a lot worse. Really have. The other thing, now that we've finished that event, is obviously things like the team here, the sponsors, the developments, and obviously team profile. Team profile, you know, plain simple, choose a banner, choose the colours, things like that. The teammate development. Obviously, you are stuck with one teammate. It is explained in the story. The story's actually alright. It does a good job of making you hate the antagonist, I will admit that. It really does a good job of that. But, you know, obviously, you can't just, when you level up, you can't just get new teammates, which I think is actually how it used to work before. Or is you could swap out teammates and things like that. This, you are just stuck with this one teammate, but you can obviously upgrade him so that he is a better, you know, they'll be able to push a little bit harder, they'll be able to defend a little bit better, they will protect your nemesis against your nemesis when you've crashed into someone enough times and they're absolutely gunning for you. Your teammate will protect you a little bit better, he'll take less money, he will listen to your commands a little bit more, things like that, etc. Absolutely fine, no worries. However, there is one upgrade which turns your teammate from, you know what, alright, okay, 50-50, you can get some good results with him, and then sometimes he has a bit of a struggle, to almost completely useless. And that's with this upgrade here. He will move over for you when you approach them. Now, normally, that doesn't seem too bad. You know, it might just be, alright, okay, you know, if I've got a good run, he's the teammate will probably just pull out to the left, you know, go off the racing line a little bit, give me the better line so that I can overtake. No worries. And that does sort of happen. But he also slows down, which is a problem. Because you could be behind him and not able to have a good line of overtaking, and then he will slow down in your face. And you can't avoid the crash. that is just stupid. That is really, really stupid. And that, why is that the thing that happens? So, if you are playing this game, or, if you are looking at playing it, because it is on Game Pass, and EA Play as well, avoid this upgrade at all costs. This is the epitome of that meme where it's upgrade, fuck, go back. That is the absolute epitome of that upgrade. It is horrific. The other thing I want to talk about, well, actually, the mechanic development is honestly all fine. There's no complaints here. Boost duration increased by a certain amount of time, vehicle upgrades being cheaper, XP being boosted by 15%, which I think the XP does absolutely nothing anymore because you don't get new teammates when you leveled up, so it does fuck all, other than you might be semi-pro in one discipline. You might get more, you'll be able to, less of your cut is taken when you have to loan a vehicle, vehicles are cheap, etc. Absolutely no problems there. It's all fine and dandy. The sponsors, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of these sponsors. Now, some of them aren't too bad, There's just 3 simple objectives. When you complete all of them, you unlock a special event in which you can unlock a new car. Honestly, doesn't sound like a single problem whatsoever. However, it says you get bonus money. I've not really noticed the bonus money whatsoever. Because pretty much these are just more like quests. And the reward for it is you unlock a new event to get a new car. Alright, okay, fine, no worries. However, I would have just rathered... You've got the one main sponsor. You do little objectives like beat this person by X amount of seconds. You keep impressing the sponsor, then you get an invitation, a proper invitation. The sponsor keeps paying you money. You get the invitation, you unlock the car. I think I would prefer that system because all the sponsors on there are just decoration. You don't choose anything or any of those sponsors, which I definitely preferred in Grid 1, where you chose the sponsor and the sponsor was on your car. In this, they're not. So, I'm not a fan of that system. I really would have preferred a different system. Anyways, let's actually get back into the positives. Let's talk about the career mode and obviously the different things. Obviously, you've got your little race creator. Honestly, it's great. You can go to whatever disciplines you want. You can even select all of these things. You can make a multi-class event, I believe. And these are all the little areas. There's actually a good amount. I've not counted how many there are, but there's a good amount of obviously fictional tracks and real proper real life tracks. I think there's 22 locations. Obviously, if you get the DLCs, I think there's actually more, possibly. And yeah, within these you get a fair amount of routes. Obviously, this one has got about 7 routes in Barcelona. If we head to Suzuka, obviously, you've got a little bit less, I believe. Yeah, you've got 6, but you could do forward, reverse, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And, it's actually really good. There's a good amount of tracks, blah, blah, blah. You could do it both forwards and reverse. So, there's still a lot here. And like I said, there's plenty of stuff to do. In GTC, you've got all the classes, and then you've got the finale, and then you need to do that. I don't know why that's saying that's not 100% complete. It is 100%. Oh, that's second in that. I don't know. Right, okay, we may as well head here then, because it's doing it funny. I don't know. But yeah, even in the single player, there's a lot to do. Like I said, there's a complete story mode if you want to play it. That's actually not too bad, to be honest. I've seen a lot worse stories in a racing game, but, stories of racing games aren't always the greatest. So, just expect that. It's fine. It's serviceable. It's not the best out there, but like I said, racing games don't really tend to have fantastic stories because that's not really the main priority a lot of the time. It's more just getting a very fun handling model. But yeah, you've got the career mode, obviously, with a whole bunch of different disciplines. You've got the sponsors that unlock your new cars. There's a lot to do. There is a good amount to do, and you've got little championships that have different amount of rounds. Obviously, the upgrade system in this, you basically drive for a certain amount of miles in a car that you actually own, and you'll be able to upgrade it. So, you know, nice and simple. Obviously, you have to have a little bit of money to upgrade the car, and you get a little bit of a performance boost. You know, so it's nice and simple. Nothing really harmful at all. It's plain and simple. Christ. But yeah, I'll talk about the other thing now. The looks of this game. It is a fantastic looking game. Obviously, I'm playing this on the Series X. I don't have any frame drops on this version whatsoever. And the game does look a little bit beautiful, unless I just had a frame drop there. Honestly, I couldn't tell you. It might just be the little name tags having a little bit of a funny. But yeah, the game does look absolutely gorgeous. You know, oops. That was terrible driving off me. You know, you've got the little water effect, water, well, effects and the reflections, very much combined 2 in 1. It probably is not ray traced, however, I'm not really a stickler for the game has to look absolutely fantastic. I'm not one of those people, but it's a nice bonus, but not necessary. You know, some of my favourite racing games of all time look dated now, but back then it was remarkable graphics. Because I just rather a game that actually plays nicely than looks nicely. That could just be me. Anyways, yeah, the frame rate as well, like I said, no drops there whatsoever, and it does look really damn good. The multiplayer I can't actually comment about because I've not bothered with it. You know, none of my mates really play this game anymore, so I can't say how simple it is to, you know, set up a multiplayer and things like that. But I do know before, progress was actually separate, which is probably what happened here. Progress is actually different, so for some of the events you need to actually win. But if you're doing co-op, both of you need to win to actually get the progression. So you have to do the event twice. Yeah, I don't know. And it only seems to be in like the co-op. Obviously, if you're doing rivals, where you're doing the campaign, but you are not teammates, then, you know, fine and fair enough. That's part of it. But when you are teammates, really, I think it should be you both progress, so that it feels like a proper co-op campaign. But you know, it is what it is. That could have completely changed now. I cannot tell you in the slightest. So I think that's pretty much it for this game. I'm gonna leave these. The next couple of videos are going to be a little bit shorter because it is getting to the point where it is getting bloody boiling in my room, and I cannot deal with the heat. I absolutely hate the summertime because it's way too bloody warm. Yes, I get it. I don't go out at all. Heard it all before. But yeah, the video's going to be a little bit shorter because of that reason. But to go back to the question of, do I regret neglecting this game for half a year? Or do I think, no, it was perfectly justified, I shouldn't actually be going back and playing it? I'm going to say I mostly regret neglecting it, majoritively. But there are definitely aspects of this game that I don't miss. Definitely aspects that I've talked about in this video. However, if you do have Game Pass or EA Play, and you're looking for, you know, just a game that's just a pretty damn solid racing game, or even if you don't have either but you've got cloud gaming, honestly, give this a try. Even if cloud gaming's a little bit funny at the minute and a bit shit, honestly, give this game a try. I do think it is fun. You might completely disagree with me about the brakes, and, you know, I should stop being such a whingy little shite. or you could be completely agreeing with me. You know what? It's up to you. But yeah, I honestly, I do enjoy this game. I have regretted majoritively neglecting it. Obviously, when you, as you're saying there, when you complete events, you get new patterns. Patterns is all nice and the same. Really, that you pretty much you just go to livery. You got all your stuff here, and then, oops, and you can do that. You can have the. You can do little things so you can have it completely clean, or you can have all the sponsors, you can remove the number, things like that. There was a way to have it equipped on all cars, but I don't know how you do that anymore. I don't actually... Oh well, looks like I'm going to have to do it individually. Oh well, okay. Before you used to be able to just put liveries on all your cars that were the absolute same, but it turns out not anymore. Could just be me. Anyways, yes. That's answered the question. I'm going to call it there for a video. Do hope you enjoyed. All feedback is appreciated. Feel free in the comments to have your own discussion of this game. Maybe you forgot it even launched because Gran Turismo 7 was a week later. You may have played it and then stopped playing it altogether. Anything like that. Feel free. Let me know in the comments. I'll be interested to see if anyone, they may have watched this video and have gone back to it. So, I'll be curious to know what your thoughts on this game is. However, that is it from me. Take care, and ciao for now.